I was speaking with a coach and she said, well, what lights you up? And I said, getting Black women paid. And then that was it. So now I am the founder of Getting Black Women Paid, especially in the US since maybe 2024. Every Black woman I talk to is talking about starting her own business. I started a business just to not be speaking for free. At some point she'll say, well, until I'm doing my own thing. Along the way, women more than double their income in a single negotiation.
Welcome, ladies, to Spotlight Voices. My name's Natalia Nicholson. I'm your host, and I am with you pretty much daily at this point, as we have got a countdown to the top 100 most powerful Black women summit. We are coming to you in March, from the 23rd of March to the 27th of March, out of Irie Jam FM studios in New York, where we are going to be streaming globally to a number of brilliant Black female entrepreneurs who are coming to speak, to teach to you. And today we have got one of our keynote speakers, Tine Zekis, here with me, and I'm so excited for her to share her story with you. Tine, please do tell us who you are, a little bit about you before we jump into it.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. Again, my name is Tine. It's short for Christine, if that is helpful to folks. I actually started my career as a math teacher, and the classroom was not for me. I can explain a math concept in 10 different ways, but I only know one way to say don't talk when someone else is talking. And so after leaving the classroom, I ended up doing a coding boot camp and I became a software engineer.
Wow.
And moving from that very female dominated industry and education to white male, things I was not at all familiar with. It was hard. There was a lot of imposter syndrome. There were guys who'd been building computers since high school, and I hadn't started to learn how to code till I was almost 30. And in order to not shrink myself, I really tried to lean into that career changer mentality. What were the things I brought that, someone who's been coding since high school doesn't have? Clear communication, the ability to explain complex ideas in human language. And so, in that first job interview, I told them I'm a developer who can speak human. And it was with that, I started negotiating even from that first role. I doubled my teaching salary in 2 years. I more than tripled that teaching salary in less than 5 years. And along the way, I was informally mentoring other Black women on how to do the same. So career pivots, salary negotiation. I've helped women more than double their income in a single negotiation. And from there, I started speaking on imposter syndrome, especially for career changers, for women in tech, for Black folks in tech. And I started a business just to not be speaking for free. Once I was done speaking for free, I started the business. And I was really trying to figure out this speaking thing. And along the way, I was speaking with a coach, and she said, well, what lights you up? And I said, getting Black women paid. And then that was it. So now I am the founder of Getting Black Women Paid. and that's what I do. And the focus now has shifted more towards helping Black women launch businesses. Especially in the US since maybe 2024, every Black woman I talk to is talking about starting her own business. Even if we're coming for, a career discussion, at some point she'll say, well, until I'm doing my own thing. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. Right. And so now the focus is really on, how do I, especially if I am still working that 9 to 5, how can I build systems? How can I really automate to launch a business with intention? How do I get really intimate with my ideal customer? What are their desires? What are their pain points? How can I do that market research, really build something that I've proven in the market so that way I can launch with confidence?
Yeah. Oh my God, I've got so many chills down me. Number one, if you're listening to this, I know your ears are pricked up because, Tine, your story is actually really powerful. And it's the transformation that you've had and how you've managed to actually turn that into a business and be successful and still help others. There's so many women, especially Black women, that want to do that. But there's a few things before we move on that I actually want to unpack. Number one is the women in tech. For those of you who are listening out there, you must have noticed about in the last 5 years, there's been a big spotlight being shone on the whole women in tech and Black women in tech. And there's a reason for it. If you understand a technical skill, and especially if you come from a STEM area and you can code, you're also a woman and you're a natural born nurturer. And you connect to humans more than men do, just how we were built. Okay. And what I'm noticing, Tine, is that our superpower is actually being able to understand human relationships and connections and understand how to build technology, no matter what field you come from, whether it's the coding, the robotics and engineering. There's many different areas you can come from in STEM. But the fact that we can translate that technical and bring it into that human to human, Absolutely. It makes us pretty damn special. And I think a lot of Black women need to harness their power in tech. So if you are watching this and you're a woman in tech, you need to reach out to Tine. If you're watching this and you're thinking it's time for a pivot, you need to reach out to Tine. It's really important. I feel like there's a huge opportunity within our community, more so around the STEM subject and the STEM market sector, full stop, and being able to pivot. And I think some women feel like that's not my remit, that's not me. And you give it a chance. I live and breathe tech. I'm in the digital space. If God himself had come down and said that my success was going to come from digitalization, being able to understand how you apply software to a micro entrepreneur, to a big corporation, to craft out a user journey, which is known as a funnel, which is completely human to human, but understand how you use technology to do that, to automate it, and how to even start building technology that you know that works better than what's in the marketplace, I would have said, no, not me. Well, and I'm not built that way, in my opinion, for the way I've been brought up. So just a lot there I resonated with. And I think a lot of people listening to this, there's a lot that you just said that they're literally sitting there thinking it's time for change.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons that tech is a high paying industry is because it's so well gate kept, that we keep projecting the illusion that it's too complicated, it's too hard for most people to understand. And so many of us, and we're socialized to think, that tech stuff is not for me. And so a lot of it is designed that way. It's designed to make you feel like you don't belong, or to make you feel like it's going to be too hard. And
if you can speak another language, you can code.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the analogy I use. If you're up for learning another language, you can be up for learning how to code, because it's just computer language.
And see, I think learning a language is too hard, but that's because I'm an American and we don't do that.
I don't think it's an American thing. To be fair, I think it's a West thing, because I'm the same as well. You say another language and I run in the opposite direction. But I think, but it's not something that you deem as being impossible.
Exactly.
If you was put into another country and English was not the mother tongue, you would have to soon figure it out.
Right.
And you would. Love it. So, Tine, because I could just spend all day speaking to you about tech, digitalization, the pivots. When people hear your name, what do you want them to associate it with?
Oh, I love this question. I've been thinking a lot about legacy and, what I want my mark on this world to be. And on a macro level, I want to be part of closing the wealth gap. That gap between women and men, that gap between Black folks and white folks. I want to contribute to closing that gap. And I think on a smaller level, I want to be known as a good mom. I have 2 little kids. My daughter is 8. My son just turned 6 this week. And they are, on my micro level, they are everything.
I absolutely love that. That's really heartfelt, actually. I absolutely love that. What would you say is the moment that really shaped the woman you are today as a leader?
I think it was the day I quit teaching. I didn't mention this before, but I was a teacher with my own classroom for 6 school days. 6 days. When I tell you that the classroom was not for me, it is not an understatement. I was having panic attacks and vomiting. I lost 7 pounds in 5 days. The stress of that space was too much. And there was one day I was driving to school and I had the thought, if I drove into that median, I could go to the hospital instead of school.
Wow.
And so I knew I had to quit. But my whole life I had wanted to be a teacher. I had built so much. I had gone to school for 18 years working towards this thing. And I thought that that was who I was. And I thought that leaving that thing was erasing who I was. And I think that doing that, even though I had no plan, I had no financial plan, I felt that commitment I had made to the school and to those kids. But I knew that even no matter how important the work was, I couldn't do it well if I couldn't take care of myself.
I'm glad you recognize that. Some people find that tough.
Yeah, I also found that tough. It was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage. So well done you.
Yeah, and so that moment, I didn't think I was stepping into leadership. I thought I was giving up on everything. But when I reflect on that pivot, that change is what made everything else possible. And so, I think that the leader I have become, a lot of that is rooted in my empathy towards people who are having a hard time and reminding them that, this next decision doesn't have to be the final one or the right one. It just has to be the next one.
Next one.
Because it will lead you to other paths. It will open more doors and you'll figure out the next thing. So I think that was probably my most pivotal moment.
Yeah, and that was powerful as well. And speaking of power, obviously the summit's called Top 100 Most Powerful Black Women. What does power actually mean to you?
We live in capitalism. So in some ways, money is power.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in the sense that, the more money I have, the more power I have, or I can wield power over someone else. I mean it as when we have enough, when we are able to cultivate enough to feel financially secure, to feel, we're not worried about how we're going to make the next mortgage payment. We're not worried about if we can send our kids to college. We're not worried about if there's an emergency, how am I going to cover it? We have a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
And so that I think power is freedom.
Yeah, and money is a commodity, and I think sometimes we forget that. So I totally understand where you're coming from on that, and I love your rawness and honesty, because I agree with you. And some people misconstrued that of having a love for money, or there's something about money that's evil. But money gives you options and gives you choices. Exactly. But I don't worship it. I understand it's a commodity, just like how we've got to have food.
Right.
To keep our bodies going and to stay alive. So I love your sincerity and your honesty, because not many people that I've asked that question to, nobody said that. And I actually agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Well, and I struggle sometimes with, the company is getting Black women paid. And I try to remind people that getting paid is not the end goal. It's getting paid so that, right? So that I can travel, so that I can, set my own schedule, so that I can rest, right? What is the actual goal? And then the money will help you get there.
Yeah.
Right.
I admit, rest.
Yes.
I don't sleep much.
Yep.
And what does ownership look like for you in your world right now?
Ownership is kind of a two-sided coin. For one, there's pride in ownership. I own my home, or, I own my business. I own my journey. But on the other side of it, it's also a responsibility, right? Having ownership means, owning my mistakes and learning from them, owning up to my shortcomings. And so I think of it kind of in two ways. One does feel kind of empowering, and the other can be empowering if you're approaching it from a growth mindset.
Yeah. I think there's something about coming of age and getting older you embrace feedback. You want to be a better person. You embrace personal development. I was speaking to it with my students today. I teach entrepreneurial program at university, and I was trying to explain to them, as you get older, you really do get less filter and care less what people think, but you also check yourself a lot more as well.
Yep.
And I was trying to explain to them, if you can start that early, you'll become a really great leader.
Absolutely.
And so I couldn't agree more. Right, my next question is a bit of a really easy one for you, by the way. But I'm going to ask it all the same. What is the one narrative about Black women you are committed to changing through your work? And I think it's in the title of what you do.
Oh my goodness, the one narrative about Black women. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pivot. I think the narrative I'm committing to changing is the strong Black woman. We are so committed to this myth of like the strong Black woman, nothing gets to her. She's so resilient. She's so strong. She's so brave. We're tired. I'm working against this hustle culture where we don't have to earn rest, and we get to be soft and we get to be women instead of just the pillars of the community and the people holding it all together. I think that narrative of the strong Black woman is the one I would most love to dismantle.
Okay, so Tine, this is what's really interesting. I'm sitting here thinking I need to get my video editors to put this question together, all the women. You are actually my 10th, lucky number 10th podcast. And do you know you've all answered the question in different variations, but the exact same answer? I kid you not.
No way.
And I'm going to put a reel together where we just answer this question and it goes through. Because ladies, if this amount of women can keep saying the same thing over and over again, I think we need to pay attention.
Absolutely.
It is. It's almost spooky. But and every time I hear it, I keep feeling like God's giving me a message.
Yep.
God's giving me a message.
Let me send that message 10 times and see if you hear it.
Yeah, and I think this is the perfect place for women to kind of figure out, actually, how do I do that? And start getting some answers and being able to work towards that. So I absolutely love that. My next question is, what do you think Black women deserve more of in rooms where decisions are made?
Okay, so I mean, we deserve to be in those rooms. But more than that, I think a lot of organizations will pat themselves on the back. Oh, we have a Black woman in leadership, or we have some diversity in the room. Right. One Black woman. But then they dismiss everything she says. Yeah. I think what we need more of is people hearing and affirming us. The reason diversity in rooms with decision makers is important. It's because of our different experiences, because we bring something to the table that nobody else there has. We've seen some stuff. We have different ways of looking at things because of the way we've been conditioned throughout our lives. And then so often we get to those rooms and, oh, well, are you sure it was about race? Or, oh, are you sure? And just get dismissed. And it's like the reason we need to be in those rooms is because our perspective is valuable. So I think it's being heard, being affirmed, and being valued for that perspective.
Absolutely love it. And what is the one challenge you face that people would never guess? And how did you move through it?
Ooh, a challenge I faced that people would never guess. I guess stage fright.
Wow. I wasn't expecting to say that.
Right. There you go.
I wasn't. Because of what you do and then being a teacher, I actually wasn't expecting that.
I am an introvert. If you put me in a room where I don't know anybody, I will just hide in the corner and not talk to anybody, which is part of why, even the way I dress, the way I look, I try to look approachable so people will come to me. Right. And I was at a session with this incredible speaker. She was so charismatic. She owned the room. She was one of those people that, it looked like she was born doing this. And someone asked, what's the the best speaking advice you ever got? And she said, wear black, it hides the sweat stains. And I'm like, yes, like, even if I come out here looking cool and collected, I'm still I'm still sweating.
I'm taking that one for myself. I'm always in black.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. But just to know that, you can push through those things. I mean, I literally wrote the book on imposter syndrome, and part of it is it's not about being confident and, not feeling fear. It's about doing it anyway. And the more you do that, the easier it becomes.
Absolutely love it. And just so you know, you come across as being super approachable. I just want to let you know that you have got calming voices and vibrations where it's like you feed power into people. And I'm sure anybody listening to this, I know they're going to put in the comments, Natalia, I totally agree.
I appreciate
so calmly and confidently and collectively. It's almost like you empower people through the calmness. It's almost like, come on, you've got this. And it kind of just oozes out of you. I just wanted to let you know that.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely, hands down. What boundary, standard or non-negotiable changed everything for you?
Ooh, non-negotiable. I think for me, it's my time. As I mentioned, I have 2 young kids. My spouse is a full-time parent, and the boundaries that we've set so that I can spend time with my family is the non-negotiable. I was traveling for a talk when my daughter said her first word. And I didn't just miss it. When I got back, it was like she forgot. She was like, I don't know what you're talking about, up. Like she wouldn't do it when I came back.
She wouldn't do it for you. You're like, Dawn, do it, come on.
And I was just like, I'm not gonna see every single milestone, but I want the overall memory of their childhood to be that I was there supporting them. So for me, the non-negotiable is my kids.
Absolutely love that. Really do and relate to that as well. So as we wind up, if a brilliant Black woman was building her own business or a platform, what is the first move you would tell her to focus on?
The first thing is her audience. And I don't mean that in a generic way. I mean, like, so specifically, like that ideal client avatar. She has a name, her age, her job, what kinds of things she works on the side. Is she married? Is she single? And really understanding what her challenges are, what her desires are, what are the things that she wants so much she would pay for it, what are the things that she would like to get rid of so much that she would pay for it. I think that's the first thing, is just really understanding your audience. What words do they use to describe their pain points, right? Because your solution might be, you've done the research, maybe you're a PhD, you've done all this stuff, and she might not speak that same language as you. So like, what are the words that they use when they're talking about their challenges? Like that, really getting deep on your audience.
I love that. And just so you know, as someone that builds funnels for a living, that is good advice.
I knew you'd feel me on that one.
Oh, yeah. That's why I was like, the thumbs up. If I could have had the emojis on the screen, they would be like everywhere, because I totally 100% agree. Even just down to messaging, how you're going to convey, how you're going to connect. If you really want to be successful and be able to sell your business, you've got to understand who you're selling to, and you've got to create a product or service that serves someone. And the only way you can do that is to understand who we are. And that is why Tine rocks in tech, because you see all those great geniuses that code and build, they don't get that. They don't get it.
Sure.
Oh, I love it. I've enjoyed today. So quick fire round as we finish up. So I'm going to say a sentence and then you're going to finish it.
Okay.
Okay. It's fun. It's fun. Don't overthink it. So first question. My power increases when I...
When I rest.
Oh, we've got so much in common. I love it. I totally agree with that one as well. Next one. What name me one belief Black women must release to rise faster?
My work will speak for itself.
Could not agree more. And what so many of us grew up on that.
Yes.
A blueprint we might think about readjusting. And finally, not so much of a quick fire round, but quick fire answer. Where can people connect with you, Tine? And what's your next move? Like, what's your plans? Where can they find you? What are you doing for 2026?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm mostly on LinkedIn, Tine Zekis. I'm Tine Zekis everywhere. So Instagram, TikTok. Actually, TikTok, I think I'm Getting Black Women Paid. Also my podcast, the Getting Black Women Paid podcast.
Please make sure you stop what you're doing right now and you go and subscribe for the podcast, because you just heard this amazing session from this lady and she's going to be at the summit as well. Sorry, had to add that.
No, absolutely. If you want to hear more of this sultry, calming voice, it's the podcast.
You got me.
The book, Overcoming Imposter Syndrome at Work, The Black Woman's Guide to Conquer Perfectionism, Stop Overthinking, and Thrive in Your Career. It's also available as an audiobook, narrated by yours truly. Again, more opportunities to hear this calming voice. And in terms of 2026, I'm actually leading into the speaking. I just gave my first TEDx talk that will be coming out on YouTube soon. I'm looking for spaces to speak to Black women. And so I'm looking for organizations that promote Black women in their careers, in starting businesses. Those are the places I want to be. Absolutely love it.
And just like, what can people expect from your keynote at the summit, which I'm just mega excited about?
Absolutely. So it really is zeroing in on that initial stage in the business, that part that we often overlook. We have this great idea and we just want to put it out there. This talk is about slowing down, getting really clear on that person we're trying to help. What is the problem we're solving? How do they experience that pain point? What's the desire that they have on the other end? How do I build my offer around that and launch with confidence, knowing that it will be profitable?
Absolutely love it. Ladies, make sure the QR code's above me. Make sure you get your ticket. Make sure you look Tine up on where she is at the program. Make sure you check out the keynote. She's going to be streaming live with us. We're going to be in the studio, so we're going to have some Q&As after your talk as well. So please, please, please make sure that you get your ticket. Spread the word. Anybody that you might think is interested, make sure you share it. We are on a mission we just want to change. We're on a mission to create a table that we can share for visibility. And from that table, it's about you creating your own table and not waiting for a seat at a table that does not want you. It's time for us to rise up. It's time for us to create our own Black Wall Street again. So we look forward to seeing you at the summit. Tine, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed that.
Me too.
Take care,
I can't wait. Bye.
Bye-bye.